YouTube, my name is Steve and I'm here recording this video along with my brother Nathan. This video is pretty much going to contain a lot of information that's going to be really good for when you're either buying a car or if you already have a car, and it's pretty much an inspection, certified inspection. It's really important because it'll actually you'll actually be checking for important things like structural damage, things that are the most important parts of an inspection process. A lot of us, we usually look at a car by the looks, by how it looks, and it's really important to look at a car by the structural, the components that really matter. Over here we have a Honda Odyssey that we're going to be inspecting. Honda Odyssey. I'm pretty sure you guys have done this before, but pretty much it's a good practice. We're going to start with the tires. It is really good to actually look at the tire tread. Also, we have here the Honda Odyssey that has aftermarket rims as well. It would be nice to look at the brakes. Now, the way that you check the brakes is if the car hasn't been driven, you could grab your nail, kind of scratch the disc a little bit. This one seems good. It doesn't seem like it has it's not worn. We're gonna do that for all the tires. You can get a tire gauge and actually measure these, but for the most part you just want to make sure that at least you can fit in your finger. That means that you have a good tire from the front and the back as well, which, you know, we're pretty good there. Okay, this is the part where we are going to start to examine the exterior of the vehicle. We're going to start from the very front of the vehicle and we're going to work our way from the bottom all the way to the top. Right here we see this bumper. This bumper, we can determine that it's a previous repair. Previous repair pretty much means that it has been previously painted. It could have been replaced in the past, but right now the way that we determine that it's previous, there's a couple ways of doing so. Number one, you can actually feel around the edges, places where a buffing machine wouldn't enter, wouldn't fit, and you could feel a little bit of roughness. The way that I could explain the roughness would be like if you're either touching an orange, or let's say for example on some of the cars you could feel like a basketball, where it has like a little bit of a bumpy feeling. Another way to determine is if they paint this bumper and this bumper receive a hit. The manufacturer uses technology that is called flex paint. It's paint mixed with a flexible component, and therefore it wouldn't crack as easy. Right here we can see a crack, so we know that that's an aftermarket paint. Another way to examine is if you see dirt and debris on the paint or on the clear coat. That's a little bit harder to get on camera, but I mean by this alone we know that this is a previous repair. The next step that we would do would actually be the hood. With the hood, when I go like this, put my face close to the hood, looking at an angle, I could actually see that there's dust spots. But the dust spots are actually within the paint, not on the outside of the paint. Another thing that you could do would be feel for rough edges as well. This is a tip, it's a really good one. If you grab your hand and put it along the hood on the upper portion, it feels rough. Reason why is because they either grab some tape and tape this all around so paint won't go and paint these components, or when they're spraying, they usually won't spray this way. So that way you have a rough edge here, and that's a really good way to determine if this hood has been painted, which this hood has been painted. Now for the top, This top doesn't seem like it's painted. One of the good things to do to examine it would be look at this rubber piece right here. Sometimes when they put tape, if they don't do a good job taping this rubber piece, you'll see paint on it. As well as some of these, sometimes they clip off and you'll be able to see a paint line. That's where they put tape, and when they paint and remove the tape, it will leave a really rough paint line, and that's what we look for to determine if it has been previously painted or not, because on the dealership they wouldn't do that, or the manufacturer, the car manufacturer, they paint the parts as a whole. They don't put tape on nothing. So that is pretty much the front of the vehicle. We're gonna go ahead and hop into the side on the next clip. Okay, right here we have the side of the Odyssey. One thing that you want to do, I mean, it's going to take time to train your eyes. I know in the first time you're not going to be so good at it, but it is a good way to tell if any of these panels are actually previously painted. You put yourself at an angle like this, and you just want to kind of like gun point the vehicle, going back and forth, up and down. Now the reason why you do that and why you want to do that is to see if you see any paint difference. With paint difference, I mean the texture of the paint. Come in close. All paint has a texture. The texture of this paint might actually be big, round, texture like. This panel, if it was painted, it's going to be really hard to have the same texture than this panel right here, because it would have to be calibrated to perfection. It almost always doesn't happen. This would have smaller, closer little balls that form the texture of the paint. That's the way how you could determine from one panel to the other. The other ways of determining would actually be like the same way that we did with the bumper. Not looking for the cracks, but looking for the dust, looking for the dirt, looking for the debris, and all that things that we haven't seen here on the other panels. Now let's say, for example, if this was a panel that we saw painted, then we know that somehow this door was either hit or painted for a scratch. It could have been for anything, but we want to look at the structural components behind this door to determine if the hit was hard enough to the point that it damaged the structural of this vehicle, the structure. So you can come around. And what we will be looking would be at... Okay guys, we're in a new area. You know, there's no more background noise. It's going to be a little bit better because I really want you guys to hear this. It's really important material. So you guys can come over here and take a look at the A pillar. A pillar is right here inside the door, next to the hinges. And you just want to make sure that number one, that doesn't have any heavy dents, and number two, it doesn't look like it has sand marks where Bondo was applied. This is the B pillar right here on the other side, coming next, still on the same door, but just on the other side where the hinge connect to. You want to make sure that this doesn't have any heavy dents. Looking pretty good. Another thing I want to explain is that, let's say for example the hit was extremely hard on the door. It can happen where they replace the entire pillar. The way to determine if they did or they did not is by pulling on the weatherproof seal. Pulling on the weatherproof seal will show your welds. These are manufacturer welds. Manufacturer welds look like circle. Now, on a regular job where it's a previous repair, you will either not see these or just see some welds that do not look like the manufacturers, which are nice and round. A lot of people that do previous repair will also try to fake these. They'll use the eraser of a pencil and just kind of do the shape on body filler. The way to determine whether they're fake or not is looking at the back of the welds. If you see burn marks, they're usually going to be previous repair. The manufacturer does a really good job on the back portion, and that's how you determine for structural damage on the A pillar, B pillar, and we also have a C pillar, being the fact that this van has not only one door, but it also has another set of doors. So the C pillar is kind of hidden on this caravan, but it's right here. The very first thing that you want to do to determine if it's a previous quarter panel is actually touch right here on the edges, because that's where they put tape, and that's where you'll usually feel a rough line. On this one, it actually looks really good. This quarter panel hasn't been painted. Feeling right here around the edges on the door as well. Feels nice and smooth, so we know that this door and this quarter panel hasn't been painted as well. Another thing to look for would actually be the VIN sticker. Newer vehicles will have a VIN sticker on the parts, just the same way that you see here, as you see over here on the door. So if this door was replaced, you won't see the VIN sticker. Now keep caution as well, because if a hit was too hard, they might have not replaced the entire door, but they can replace the skin. The skin replacement is right here. They'll usually either melt this or break it off. They can actually peel this away and the entire door skin will come off. They could put a brand new door skin, and the way to determine if that's been replaced is by actually looking at these. Compare them to the rest of the doors, and they should look pretty even. This one, we see that it has a nice manufacturer seal. Usually the ones that are not made by the manufacturer and are replacements, they'll either be kind of gunky looking, or just they won't look the same as the other doors. Rails. The rail is framed, it's on the bottom, and it's really important to look at them. Some of the vehicles carry one rail, some of the vehicles carry two rails, and it also depends what type of vehicle it is. There's pickup trucks are usually just the body on the frame, and it's called the conventional frame. It's just frame is the only thing that you should look for on a pickup truck. Not all of them, but most of them. And a vehicle like this is called a unibody. What unibody means is that the frame is attached to the body of the vehicle, and these components that we're mentioning right now for you to check are part of that structural component, structural body. Alright guys, so another thing to look out for would be those check engine lights, or any lights, any light at all. It could be an anti-lock brake system light, security restraint system light. The first thing you want to do is, when you insert the key, don't insert it all the way. Just make sure that all the lights are there, because a lot of people that are not, they're not just, will actually remove the little light bulb where it displays a check engine light. So when you go ahead and turn on the vehicle, you'll look, it won't have a check engine light when it's supposed to be lit, and the fact is that it doesn't have a light bulb to lit the check engine light. So you just want to keep an eye on that. Right now we have this van has a check engine light. For that, you could actually check, there's a diagnostic tool that you could look for and see what error code it has, and if it has something that is a little bit too difficult for you to tackle on, then You could choose not to purchase the car, or you could choose to have a mechanic look at it and quote you for that. So that is the part, how to check safety on the interior of the vehicle in concerns to your engine and drivetrain. Alright guys, so right here we are under the vehicle. As we were looking at over here, this part right here on top of my finger, these are the rails. They run from the front all the way to almost the back over there, and these rails look pretty much good. But if you take a look at the floor panel, which is a part of the structural component of the vehicle, we could actually notice that there is a huge dent right there on the floor panel of this Caravan. So that deem it structural damage, which usually the reason why you don't want to buy a vehicle that has structural damage is because if there's a second accident, then that part is already bent. So that means that on that accident, it's going to lean, the damage is going to lean more to where it's already bent, and therefore cause a bigger accident, and it means less security for you, and it's not safe. It's not a safe vehicle. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and hop to the back and continue on with our inspection process. Okay. Alright guys, so this is a big hit that we saw at the beginning of the video, and we are here right now to actually check it to see if it caused any damage structural wise. Alright, so there's not a lot to see from the bottom since the bumper extends all the way to the back, but we can see at least that the floor panel is not damaged on the trunk, which is called the trunk floor. Trunk floor is also a structural damage. That means if, let's say for example, if there was dents, or this floor right here from the trunk was bent, that would actually be a structural damage, and it would deem it a structural vehicle, or a vehicle with structural damage, I should say. We also have the rails. The rails are not looking bad. Rails are right next to the trunk floor, and as we're seeing them here, alright guys, and this is a look at the interior of the trunk. As you can see, you don't see no bends on the trunk floor. This part right here, it is actually bent, not so much, but this part is not considered a structural component. It's actually the rear panel. Now this van do happen to leak some water on the inside of the trunk, which was caused by the accident, but water might be seeping in through a different area, a different place. Not a structural concern at this point. We're gonna go ahead and be doing the right side of the van at the next clip. Okay, right side is pretty much the same thing that you did on the left side. You're gonna do over here. Just remember, you have your C pillar, you have your B pillar, you have your A pillar that you're gonna check, and also you have your rails on this side as well. So you're gonna do the same thing, as well as the previous repairs on the paints, looking at them at an angle and seeing if there's any difference between panels. All right, we're gonna move to the front one more time, and the front is gonna be for structural damage. We looked at the structural components on the side, we look at the structural component on the back. There is structural components on the top as well. They're called our roof support, but those are usually not damaged unless you see any previous work on the roof, or if, let's say for example, the car just turned over, which it doesn't usually happen, doesn't happen a lot. Maybe on pickup trucks, on bigger utility vehicles, you might see it, but you know, it's not common. What we're going to look for right now is the structural components in the front of the vehicle. Now in the front of the vehicle, not only do you have your front rails, one's right here, the other one is over on the other side, but you also have, yep, So if you see right there, you want to follow that all the way to the front and try to make sure and see that they're not bent. It's kind of hard to see because it's a little bit dark, but just so you guys have an idea, right here you would follow it all the way down in there. Just make sure that it's not bent. Also right here on this side you have your apron. Your apron is a structural component as well, and it also extends to the we call the like the shock absorber box right there. All this is a structural component. It goes all the way to the front, all the way in there, just behind the headlight. You just want to make sure that there's no bends in there. Unfortunately, this caravan, or this van I should say, does not have structural damage on the apron, so I can't show you what a bent one looks like. But at least I'm showing you where to look for bends. If they look straight, then you are on a good position. Some key indicators, just like we mentioned before, we have here our fender that has the VIN. Always look in the front for turn bolts. These bolts, they don't look like, at least this one doesn't look like it's been turned, so that's a good sign. This one over here doesn't look like it's been turned as well, so that means that this fender hasn't been touched. But if you see here on the hood, these look like they have been turned, and the reason why they look like they've been turned is because at some point they had to put a ratchet and remove the bolt, and therefore it causes crashes on the side here of the bolts. All four of them look the same way. We have determined that this hood was previously painted and repaired. So over here we're going to move to see if it's been replaced as well. We're going to move all the way to this side, and guess what? This is a Honda Odyssey. It's not a TKY Odyssey. So that means that this is an aftermarket company that made this hood, so therefore it's replaced. Usually you'll see this right here over on this side of the hood, or you'll see it more towards the back of the hood. Another indication is that they usually make the hoods black, and manufacturers usually use like a gray color on the interior. So if you look through these holes with either a flashlight or anything that you have, you'll see that it's just plain black, and that is an indication that it's a replacement. Also, you may see a sticker, if they haven't removed it, that says R, as in the letter, dot, D-O-T. So that is R space D-O-T. That means replacement. So the part has been replaced. They never removed the sticker. And that could be in the hood, fender, door, anywhere you see an R dot sticker, even on a bumper, it means that it has been replaced. That piece has been replaced. Alright guys, so when you guys start the car or start the engine, you guys want to make sure that the engine doesn't have any weird noise like knocks or anything that sounds like it might be bad. This engine, for me, it sounds pretty strong and pretty healthy, so we're good there. Okay guys, so there you guys have it. This is an informative video on how to check a vehicle for structural damage. Noticing here, just also be sure to look at your core support. These are signs. No bolts here. These are signs to look for. Anything that looks weird, anything that looks strange, if it looks strange to you, be sure to double check it. Chances are there's going to be something that is wrong about it. Alright, that's it. Steve here, reporting out.
Hey guys, I was behind the camera, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It's very instructional, and I hope you learn a lot, and you keep watching our videos and subscribe.